How is everyone doing? Yeah, I'm really, really excited for this conversation because um, we are going to be exposing the greatest thing about generating wealth. And the first question that I have for you is, what does that mean to you? What does wealth mean to you? Right. And friends, so I had an epic conversation with one of my clients today, actually, two clients that just are crushing it. They're crushing it. And I took on this new client that I've been working with. And it's been interesting because I take him from A to Z, like go through this whole thing. And we get on this journey. And this new client I just took on, really getting her to understand, not getting her to understand, but just really pointing out the two things. This is the two things that stop everybody from achieving massive, massive levels of success. Now, I've worked with entrepreneurs that barely made $10,000 a month, and then they ended up making a couple hundred thousand a month, right? I've worked with nine-figure entrepreneurs. I've worked with a lot of pastors, lawyers, um, speakers, huge network marketers, and there's some things that I have found, and Napoleon Hill talks about this. Actually, like I discovered this by studying laws of success and seeing it, and I'd listened to Think and Grow Rich probably 300 times and didn't catch up with this part of it. And so when I was studying for laws of success, and you can access the training that I created on this in the ROI Accelerator Challenge. But the thing that surprised Napoleon Hill more than anything, this is one of the two that I talk about. The very first thing that I have found that keeps people from stepping in their greatness, this is the number one thing that stops people from stepping in their greatness. And that is their inability to get honest about who they truly are and how they truly show up in life. Because one, our ego doesn't want to admit that, right? And so what this is, so the first thing that keeps, and what Napoleon Hill said, he says the thing after interviewing 16,000 people, the thing that he has seen that surprised him more than anything was people's inability to get honest with their inadequacies, right? Which brings me to the second one. The second one is how we hold the stories that we have created about our inadequacies. And see, when we understand, the more we embrace our own humanity, the more we accept other people's humanity, and the more we stop projecting onto other people what we think of ourselves. Okay. So what I mean by that is that I am okay with the fact, now it's not one of my favorite things to do in the world, but I am okay with the fact that I'm human, right? And what I mean by that is that there are things that I'm going to do that are going to break down. Not that I intend for them to break down. Oh, sometimes I do, because I just want to find out. I just want to find out what is more effective or not effective, right? But see, what people do is they deny themselves the opportunity because of what they project into their future. They are afraid of failing, but it's not failing that they're afraid of. Friends, this is, I'm going to give you the secret of secrets here. They're not afraid of failing. That's not what they're afraid of. What they are afraid of is experiencing the narrative that they have around failure, right? That's all it is. The thing that they are literally afraid of experiencing is the story they have created around failure. Good evening. I believe that's going to be Lori. It's good to see you, right? So what is the anecdote for that? The anecdote, in fact, this is interesting. I was having a conversation with a client today and talking about, like, what is the gap, because she was charging a certain amount for somebody, and I says, okay, cool, great, congratulations, you got your first client, that's awesome. What is in the gap that's keeping you from charging what I suggested for you to charge? And she like went through all these things, and I'm like, this is what is in the gap. So this is where I'm at, this is what I'm suggesting you do. There's all this stuff that comes in the gap that I was saying, that what is in this gap that is keeping you from standing in this part of it? We started talking, and of course failure came up. I said, okay, cool. So what is failure to you? And we got looking at it a little bit more, and then getting into the space of, for people, I want you to think about this. Where does the fear of failure come from? This is super, super, super important. Where does the fear of failure come from? It comes from the place that we believe empowered us to create the life that we were told we could create in America. Now, obviously, I'm saying this from America, but I want you to understand something. Education, education means to draw from within. What I just shared with you is incredibly, incredibly important. Education, the word education means educo. That means to draw from within. Now, let me ask you a question. How much of our school system has taught us how to draw from within? How much? Let me put like that much, zero. It is all about you taking on the things to practice things and regurgitate them so that basically you get to plug things in, right? Well, so, and guess what? We also got taught the fear of failure, because if you don't show up the way the system is designed for you to show up, then you get exiled, which is one of our biggest fears, is to be exiled, right? So learning, so how do you obliterate failure? She told herself, right? Like, if you learn something going through the experience, then there is no such thing as failure, right? When you look at failure as nothing more than feedback, that's all it is, right? You're the one that makes it failure. You're the one that makes it like, okay, this is failure. That means I'm going to be exiled. That means that I'm not worthy. That means that I'm wrong. That means that I'm incorrect. That means that I'm going to be separated from my tribe. Whatever experiences you took on as a child that you've associated with failure is the very thing that's holding you back. Okay. I go into this deep, 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 deep in the ROI Accelerator Challenge. This is why I created this course, is to really support people in letting go of what holds them back so that they can remember their superhuman ability. Because friends, understand, there was a time in your life when you didn't know what failure was. There was a time in your life when you didn't know what shame was. There was a time in your life you didn't know what guilt was. There was a time in your life when you didn't understand what fear was. And so I show people literally how to rewrite their past, right? Because what we do is we take our past and we project it into our future. This is called proception rather than perception, right? And so how you, the missing thing about wealth is wealth. I asked you this question, what does wealth mean to you? Wealth is literally learning how to collapse time, right? And our biggest expense, this is our biggest expense, is what we don't know. This is our biggest expense, right? Like, think about that. If there's something that you don't know, how much is it costing you not to know that? Because it's not, see, friends, I'm obsessed with the word potential. If you've spent any time with me, you know I am obsessed with the word potential. Potential is the actualization of possibility, right? Somebody actualized what is possible. It's not negative or positive. It's just the actualization of what is possible. So if you see that there are people out there that have created what it is that you want to create, then it's possible, right? Like, you have the evidence that supports that it's possible, okay? But understanding that you going through whatever you get to go through is what's going to determine whether you can actualize what you want to manifest, right? So learning how to collapse time. So you think, just like with this client, like I shared with her, I said, okay, how much, if you put a dollar figure on everything, now she's a powered up executive. She's vice president of this company, whatever, like she's powered up. Okay. And I said, if you put a price tag on everything that you have invested into, the knowledge that you know, what would that be worth? Right? And I want all of you to think about this. How much value do you put on what you've learned in your life? Right? Like, and see, what we do is that we go through these painful experiences, and because they're painful, and the reason they're painful is because the story we've attached to it, right? Getting rigorously honest with who we are. And the other second thing that says these two things: getting rigorously honest with who you are, everything. And the second part is the stories that you have created about the experiences, right? Like, you can go through a divorce and you can sit there and tell yourself that you failed, or you can file bankruptcy and you can tell yourself you failed, or you can get an F in class and tell you that you failed. These are all your choices, right? But it's the narrative that you have, the meaning you gave to that experience, that's impacting your ability. And because what we do is that we do not want to relive that experience. But the reason we don't want to relive it is because the meaning we have attached to it, right? So you learning how to glean, Like you went through, okay, so say like these last 2 years, oh my gosh, friends, I can't tell you, like I was looking through my photos yesterday, and it was popping up the dates of all these photos that I was pulling up. I was like, wow, like I have been through some stuff these last 2 years. Okay. But everything that I had experienced prior to me going through those had prepared me to go through what I went through. Okay. Now I've gone through those. Now what I'm doing is I'm teaching my clients how they can literally shorten the learning curve and not have to go through what I went through. Right. Because I went through these 2 years of just like living hell. Like it was hell. It was, whoa, was it tough. Right. But when I came out of it at the beginning of this year, I was ended up creating my course, Mastering Potential, ended up doing 95K in 5 days. Just boom, created $95,000. But I had to go through everything to get me to understand a different aspect of who I was. Okay. So this is how you can collapse time. What if these experiences that you've had, and if you look at, and friends, if you haven't signed up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge, go sign up for it, because there's so many things in there that I teach you how to rewrite the programs that you have created that are keeping you in the very state that you want to transcend. What I just said there is hugely, hugely important, because in the ROI Accelerator Challenge, what I'm doing is I'm supporting people. I am nurturing them. I'm guiding them. I'm teaching them how to rewrite their past, right? Once you rewrite your past, then you start looking at, like, you look at, up, you look at a diamond, okay? So this is a prop that I use a lot in my coaching, right? This diamond didn't start out like this, okay? It started out as two octahedrons stuck to each other, right? And then they had to cut it and they had to polish it and they had to do all this. The first engagement, diamond engagement ring, was given in, I think it was 1455 or something like that. 14 or 1500s. I don't remember the exact date, right? And it was given as an original an octahedron, right? Like they just mounted it in an octahedron. That was the first diamond engagement ring ever gave. The brilliant cut diamond, which is what this would be, this isn't a diamond, obviously, but the brilliant cut diamond didn't come to be until the late 50s. 500 years later, after the diamond was discovered. Now, this is what's amazing. There is nothing that does to light what a diamond will do. There is no other gemstone that will make light react the way a diamond does. Why? Because there's no other gemstone that has the hardness of a diamond, right? So what it will do, what a diamond does different than any other stone, is that it causes what they call scintillation. It literally will take white light, which is the rainbow, and it will divide it. So if you look at a crystal like this is a crystal. If I had white light go into this, it's going to reflect rainbows, the prism, right? But a diamond literally separates those colors. Why is it able to do that? Is because of its hardness, right? It does stuff to light that no other gemstone will do. My point in saying all that is people have been working on cutting diamonds for over 500 years before they finally got to the brilliant cut diamond, which is optimally, the brilliant cut diamond is, the proportions are optimum to get it to sparkle as much as possible. Okay. 500 years to figure out how to create the brilliant cut diamond. Now they have Lazar cut diamonds. They have a lot of other diamonds, because once they got the angles of the pavilion, or the crown and the pavilion, right, so that it refracts light correctly, now they've come up with lots of different what they brand as different cuts, like the Lazar cut. There's lots of different cuts. I've been out of the industry too long. But saying that is, what if it takes you 2 years to figure out how to make $1 million a year? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? Okay. Now, I would encourage you, like I started this journey 15 years ago. Okay. And when I did, I got introduced to an idea. You are literally one idea. You are one idea from changing the rest of your life. You are one idea from changing the rest of your life. I was in a seminar. Okay. And hang on a second. And this summer, right, I sold all my jewelry equipment, sending my gold and refineries, all that stuff. And this person proposed something to me that I had never, ever, ever considered. Never considered. And because I was in that place, in that environment at that time, I got introduced to an idea. And that idea was to write a book right there, international best-selling book, and then become an international speaker, and then be able to create products that transform people's lives. He gave me one idea that has literally been responsible for changing everything in my life, like radically changed it. Because before, I could only go so far being a master jeweler. I could only go so far because at that time in my life, I was trading time for money. Okay. Of course, I had a business and all that, which is a whole other story, right? Which I did very, very well on. But see, this person, when I got introduced to this idea, he wanted me to do a book on digital diamond mine, which at some point I still might, because I was one of the biggest sellers on an auction site. And one day I woke up and my entire business was in my email box. 1,500 auctions done, just like that, right? So I had to reinvent myself, right? Just kind of like what happened in 2020 when the world got shut down. Most people didn't know how to deal with where they were at because they didn't have choices. They didn't feel like they had choices. Once you understand you have choice and you have agency, and you understand that there are things that have happened in your life that might be the very thing that you get to use to shorten somebody else's learning curve. Anytime you can shorten somebody else's learning curve, that is value, right? The value isn't what you provide. The value is what it does for them. Okay, because I have no control over how this is landing for you. I have no control over, because learning, change, and behavior is all unconscious. I have no control over how this is landing for you, but it might be the very thing that gives you an idea that puts you into the ROI Accelerator challenge.com. And in there, you are in an environment where you actually see other people. One of them was on the verge of being homeless. I had one conversation with her, and within 24 hours of having that conversation, she created $6,000 out of thin air, just like that. I have another one that just created, how much did she create? She created $8,000, right? As a result of working with it. And now she's in business. Like, she's now got clients and having amazing things happen. She created a TikTok that's got over 102,000 views on it now as a result of some of the things that I've been suggesting with her. So like I said, you are one decision away from changing the rest of your life. But see, if you're looking at anything that is an expense, right? Again, what is our greatest expense? Is the things that we don't know, right? Are you investing into a belief that you see opportunity as an expense? Or do you have the awareness to see that opportunity is something that you invest in that's going to expand you to a whole other level? Doesn't matter if you're a network marketer. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter if you're a coach dad. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is that you do, I promise you, going through the ROI Accelerator Challenge, you are going to learn strategies and blueprints and takeaways that are going to support you in literally taking your life to a whole other level. Because here's the other part, friends. Here is the number one expense is what you don't know. The second biggest expense is taxes. And what I would like everybody to do, I would like everybody to become entrepreneurs at some form, because becoming an entrepreneur, you get in touch with things about yourself that you didn't know before, right? And so once you become an entrepreneur, you now get paid, or you get taxed after you've bought everything. Before you're an entrepreneur, you get taxed and all this stuff, you get taken out of your check, and then you get what's left over, called disposable income. But then go figure out how much you're paying for sales tax, how much you're paying on tax for gasoline, all these other property tax. You get taxed on all that stuff after you get your disposable income. Christina, thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to having you be a part of it. So I'm sharing this with you is because the thing that is costing you the opportunity for you to even have the awareness of what's possible for you is what you don't know. Okay. And the thing I'm really, really good at is showing people how they can take an idea that they might not even think is that significant, and showing them literally how to create systems that literally can generate whatever it is that you want to have created. Because once you set up the system and you're able to have the acquisition cost covered, and I show you how to do this, once you have the acquisition cost covered, then all you need to do is just put more money in it. That's it. And it generates more and more and more money, right? This is how you scale things. Because I've shared this on TikTok, there's 4 levels of delivering value. The more value you can deliver, the more the more income opportunity you're going to make. The first level of delivering value is tasks, me trading time for money, right? You can't scale that. There's only so far that you can go with that. Again, there's no judgment in any of this. I've gone through all of it, right? Then the next level is a manager, right? Like me duplicating myself, like me managing people puts me into a little bit bigger income bracket, right? Then the third level is knowing how to communicate effectively, right? Like, how do you put out like I got salespeople all over the internet. All you got to do is go to Google and type in my name, and you'll get lots and lots and lots of feedback on how many little not salespeople, but little nuggets that I've been communicating over time across the internet, right? Like I've been doing this, like, I don't know, a long time, 15 years probably I've been doing this, right? And then the fourth way to deliver value is imagination, is creation, right? Like think about where we're at in time. Airbnb has eradicated the hospitality industry. Totally changed it. And guess what? They have no inventory. Their inventory is all digital, and it's somebody else's inventory. The other one is Uber, right? Eradicated the taxi industry. The other one is Netflix. Netflix eradicated Blockbuster, right? Like these are being creative and imaginative, and there's different ways that you can do it. Think about iTunes. iTunes rewrote the medical industry, or not the music industry. iTunes rewrote the I keep saying medical industry. There's other things that are doing that, but the music industry, they turned music into digital, right? And it started out like that's what that Apple started out with. That started making them popular was they came out with an iPod, right? Like nobody even knew what digital music was. They came out with an iPod that evolved into an iTouch, that evolved into an iPhone, right? And then they've got all these different products that you get introduced into the Apple world. Whatever you think about Apple is whatever you think about it, but you have to give credit where credit's due. It's genius. It is genius because this Apple here, there's some things that are a little bit different, but it's basically the same. It's the same operating system in this that's in a PC. Why is this so much more? It's because of how they've packaged themselves, right? This is what I show you in the ROI Accelerator Challenge, is teaching you how to package things so that you are the only logical choice for whatever it is that you want to put out there. Doesn't matter if you have a restaurant, it doesn't matter whatever it is you have, right? It's learning how to position yourself as the authority figure, and then you creating what it is that you create to speak to your clients in a way that you are the only logical choice for them to get the results that you say you can give to people. So if you haven't signed up for the ROI Accelerator Challenge, it starts tomorrow. Highly recommend it. And the people that have signed up for it and been a part of the other side of it, the mastery aspect of it, they're doing very well, because there's other opportunities. Because anything I do, I figure out how I can make money with it right away, right? And I've created the same thing with other people, that anybody that invests in themselves, I'm going to show up in a profound way. I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to put my heart into you so that you get to expand the life that you want to expand and create what it is that you want to create. So I appreciate you being here, my friend, so much. And I hope to see you over at the ROI Accelerator Challenge. It starts at 5 o'clock tomorrow, I believe, 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm not even sure when it is. And then it goes over Saturday and Sunday. I would love to have you be a part of it. And if you know anybody that this would support them in creating whatever it is that they want to create, please share this video with them. That would mean a lot to me and to them, because I can't support you in just a 20-minute video here. We got to get into immersion and really talk about going through the methodology that I've created with the ROI Accelerator Challenge. So appreciate you being here very, very, very much. And I hope I see you over there. until then, be blessed. And I always appreciate you guys sharing your time with me. And as always, live like your life depends on it. It does. You are one decision away. You are one decision away from changing everything in your life. So I hope that I get to be the one that supports you in doing that and opening up opportunities that you didn't even see as possible. So much love, my friend. Have an amazing, amazing evening. And I'll talk to you soon. Be blessed.